nation where we are busy putting death out of business. And I've rejigged my studio a little bit, trying to do the whole, social distancing, working on, making it all clean and sanitary and stuff. So don't worry. Hopefully we won't be getting anything soon, so we can continue to roll on and continue the show through this period of time. So got Dr. Meniw here, and we're going to talk about the future is now. The future is right now. This is the beginning, the Great Awakening. But before we do that, we're going to thank our sponsors. We're going to thank Thrivous. So that's Lincoln Cannon over there, doing a great job with nootropics and geoprotectors. You know the deal. You know the deal. If you go on to, if you share the link around, it goes from $5 all the way up to $160 worth of free Thrivous. The link, the game, the game is in the description. The rules are in the description, so check that out. Up to $160 worth of Thrivous. That's a great deal. And also, I want to thank I Am Transhuman for sponsoring this episode. And I'm going to be supporting Dinora Delphine as well. I'm gonna throw in some help and sponsor her Immortalist magazine. I've been reading that. I love that, so I'm waiting to get that. Hopefully we can pop that in at the bottom there, because I'm really enjoying what Dinora Delphine is doing. So looking forward to that as well. She's doing wonderful work. So check out the Immortalist magazine. I'll get more information on that as that comes in. But now, right now, we're going to cross over to Dr. Meniw. He's bunkered down in God knows where. It's good to see you, sir. I've missed you since last time. How you been?
Hello to everyone. And despite of everything, I'm very excited for the future right now. And I am in Argentina right now because I couldn't come back to Bolivia. So I'm not sure for how long I'm going to stay here. Locked in my place. But as I said at the beginning, I'm very excited for the future. I think it's the best time for boost all the technologies and boost transhumanist vision for the future.
Yeah, totally agree. I think now I'm calling this the great time of great reflection. Where everyone has to go and stop for a second of their busy lives and go and reflect on what they're doing and how the planet runs and how the systems are set up and what we're doing. And I think I'm calling this the time of great reflection. I know there is a lot of hardship around the corner, but again, it's all for a reason, and I'm not sure what the reason is, but it's a great time to reflect on our lives and what we're doing with our lives and the beauty of life. And so it doesn't rush away in our busy we get busy and sometimes we take life a little bit for granted, and this is a great time to reflect on how precious life is. And transhumanism is trying to extend life. We're trying to make it longer for people. And we're trying to allow people the option to have longer, happier, healthier lives, through technology. So this current health crisis that we have wouldn't have come up. Cancers wouldn't come up as an issue. So many of the modern day diseases that we have wouldn't be an issue, and people would be able to fulfill their lives and explore the universe and do all the other things that we'd really want them to do. And that's what we want to achieve, with transhumanism. So yes, I totally agree. I think this is a time of great reflection. I think people around the world are just having a break and having a real think about where we go from here. What do you think? What do you think about this in Argentina? I mean, everything stopped, so people are really reflecting. What do you think, sir?
Yeah, I think the most important thing that I have to tell you right now is the perfect moment
reflecting. What do you
people who talking about the future, because as I told you once, in Latin America, we don't have too many people who talk about the future and about the vision of the trade or about the future and transhumanism, and that is a problem because every country requires of people who talk about the future and about technology, but not representing a company of technology, because it's quite easy to talk when you represent IBM or Google, but it's not quite easy if you are not representing any of those companies and you are alone and you have to talk about I don't know the future of AI at the different the different situation that we have to face every day in our lives. And one of the things that I consider very seriously is that despite of everything that we are facing right now, we are going to have a good opportunity to boost our lives. It's a good opportunity to boost the work together, because collaborative work are going to is going to be is going to be the only solution for companies, or for people who want to achieve some goals, because alone you can't do anything. So right now the situation around the world is going to be quite a challenge, and I think it's the perfect moment to think in ourselves, to boost our intuition about life, about the inner of life, and join with technology, because technology is to improve our lives, to improve our mentality. It's not to replace us. And some people before of this situation, um, they were afraid about technology and about transhumanism. They say, no, this is for I don't know, for China or for USA only, and artificial intelligence is going to replace us. But nothing is like that. I think nanotechnology, for example, can extend our lives. Biotechnology can create life, and and artificial intelligence can be our best friend, our best solution for increase our business. And I think it's the perfect time to boost all those kind of things, to have the better life that everyone deserves.
I totally agree with you there. And transhumanism, the definition is fought over. There's different definitions of transhumanism or whatever. But in the whole, when you add it all up, it's there to benefit our lives in a positive way. And Dr. Meniw, right now in the world, everyone's racing for a vaccine. They've all turned to science. Everybody around the world it's all hanging on a thread on science. And so it shows you, when push comes to shove, people rely on science. They love science and they rely on science. And for example, this COVID-19 idea, it's all about the vaccine, which means it's all about science at the end of the day, And that really shows you something about society. On one hand, they'll complain about technology, and they'll dismiss scientists and whatever. But when at the end of the day, when people are scared, they're going to fall back on science and rationality and empiricism and all the things that we like to talk about, and they'll fall back on that as their last vestige of hope, because, the Pope has prayed. I mean, the Pope has prayed for the vaccine, for the disease to go away, and God hasn't yet responded. And that's not saying that God doesn't exist, but it's just saying that God's asleep at the wheel, and we need scientists who are who are engaged in the reality to deliver us from this sort of hardship. So yes, I agree, and science is the core. But science always shouldn't just be coming to the rescue either, like a white knight. We should be proactive, and that's what transhumanism is. It's about being proactive in the fact that we prepare for the future and we engage before the future arrives, so that the future can always be better, because we don't want to build dystopian technologies. We don't want to build dystopian AI. We don't want to build weapons. We want to build things that are helpful, like clothes. It's helpful, right? We want to build bionic eyes that are helpful. We want to eliminate diseases. That's helpful. We want to build infrastructure that lasts for generations on generations, that doesn't deteriorate. We want to build we want to do a whole lot of things that are proactive, so that transhumanism, because we are evolving with technology, so that we don't end up in a dystopian future, and that we're not always reacting. And we're bored of reacting. We don't want to react anymore to problems in the past or problems that arise. We want to be proactive, and we want to be ahead of the curve. And I think that's what a lot of people want as well. We don't want to just mitigate against a new virus every time it pops up. We want to be prepared for the next 10 viruses ahead of us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a space in the world. It's called lithium and critical resources, and we need
Right.
these critical resources in order to build these technologies, these frontier technologies. You're an expert in this field, so do you think? What do you think about the future of, let's say, lithium? Even with the globe shutting down for a period of time, when it comes back online, are you still bullish on things like lithium and critical resources?
I think that is the best moment for thinking about lithium, because the world is going to, as you said, is going to change so rapidly. We are going to change so fast, and lithium is the answer for boost all the technologies that we require for a better future for all of us. And Argentina, Bolivia, and Chile has more than the 80% of lithium around the world. So I think that the best opportunity that the people who want to invest in lithium have already, despite of this situation, is that they can collaborate with these countries, for example, with Argentina or Bolivia, and in terms of how to create a joint venture together. Because the future of trade is going to be joint ventures. It's no more export or import, because that is from the past. Right now, the future, and we are not talking about the future, we are talking about the present, because I usually say future, but right now is the present.
That's what we call the episode. The future is now. The future is now.
Yeah,
it is now. It's right now.
Not in 10 years or in 40 years. So it's right now.
It's right now. It's being accelerated
en
masse.
For boost our economies, for boost technology, is how we can cooperate together, how we can achieve our goals together. And for example, if Argentina or Bolivia or Chile requires of technology, well, we can make some joint ventures with some technology companies, or people who are involved with technology companies, and with them we can achieve some goals. Because for example, let me put one example that is very important to mention. Right now in the whole Latin America, I didn't see anyone to talk about the space. And the space is going to be the future of trade, the future of the fifth industrial revolution. Because right now we are focused on about the fourth industrial revolution, but in 10 years, Japan, India, USA, Russia, China, they are focused on space, because the space is the future of trade, the future of companies on the moon, the travel to the moon, and see what kind of resources that we are going to explore around the galaxy. And no one here in Latin America is talking about that. And it's very seriously, because the future is right now. And right now we have to figure out the way to making a schedule with some companies, international companies, such as the other day I was talking with one director of this Japan agency, and I talked to him. We have to make an agreement together to bring some specialists from the space agency from Japan to Latin America, especially to Argentina and Bolivia, because those countries are the countries that I'm working on. And he said, well, it's a good opportunity, because at the Japan Space Agency, we don't work with any country of Latin America. So it's a quite nice opportunity that you are offering to us. And I said, yes, because I'm seeing that this is a good opportunity to children, because children requires new education, children requires a new vision for the world. And I think the space is going to be the present for them. Because you and me, we are not work any longer at the company, and in that company we are going to work for 25 years. That is from the past. And
Yep.
if we want to work for a company, maybe you are work in your home, or maybe you are working I don't know, like for one month or 2 months. So the work is changing, the mentality is changing and the trade is changing, and lithium is the answer for the future. And the future is, like you said, is right now. So I think that it's a good opportunity to boost these kind of things in Latin America and offer to the to the local governments that the answer is the joint venture, because the politicians around the world are lost in all sense.
We've seen
But in
that.
Latin
We've seen
America,
that. They're
yeah,
incompetent.
yeah,
We've seen
and
that
the
they've
situation,
collapsed. The confidence in politicians has collapsed over this period of time. You know, their mishandling of this crisis has been pathetic. I mean, because they've got used to this 60, 70 years of good times essentially, and not every country has had good times, but for the most part,
yeah,
and it's become a bit of a show. And then when it actually comes to actual leadership, they've collapsed in a heap. They don't know what to do because they're just used to walking on stages, waving a bit, making a good speech, but not
yeah,
actually making any real decisions. And then we've had to see them actually make decisions, and they've not known what to do. From the UK to the US to Australia to China to
yeah.
Iran, nobody's known what to do. So it's been horrible. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I got keep going. So you're on a roll.
Yeah, the same as you said. The politicians are lost, and I think that the situation in Latin America is not an exception of that, because we are seeing right now in the continent that they are focused on the problems that we have in the last 20 years. But right now we are facing new kind of problems, like this problem that we are facing as a world right now, and the situation is not prepared for anyone, and even worse in Latin countries. And in
Yeah.
Latin countries, despite of the mentality that we can increase our trade, exporting to the Chinese market, or the Pakistani country, right now the situation is going to be completely different, because it would be quite complicated to export to those countries, because people are going to be afraid to import food, for example. And I think that is a good opportunity to change our mentality and start boosting the intelligence to start exporting ideas, nor things like usually export in the last 20 years, and especially to China. And I think the future that we have to face right now is the best solution to offer to the world what kind of things that we can offer to the world right now. And I think lithium is, in my opinion, the best solution for the local governments that they have lithium to offer. Well, let's talk about how we can achieve with different countries that they can provide us better technology or better solution for our countries, and we offer lithium, and we can exchange lithium for knowledge. And I think that that could be a good idea. And I don't talk about to export lithium, because that was from the past. I'm talking about to create joint ventures and see how we can boost lithium with technology, and lithium with technology and as knowledge. That's
Yeah.
my vision for the future, and I think that could be a solution for the Latin countries, especially for Chile, Argentina, and even Mexico have lithium right now. So for Mexico as well.
Yeah, and I agree. I think we need, this is my time to really, grow Detonation out and to get studios across the world and try and support this notion of transhumanism and transhumanist technologies, especially in Latin American countries or in big consumer countries, to boost that demand. Supply chains, this is in this time of great reflection. Doctor, supply chains are going to become more nationalized or more regionalized. We've seen that now with US and China completely stopping trade and pushing the world to the brink. So we will see supply chains become more robust. But this isn't necessarily true for supply chains of critical resources, including lithium. I think that these will be the exceptions to the rule, because we're talking about manufacturing technologies such as frontier technologies. I think that these will be an exception to the rule. Now, does that mean you have to ship a lithium halfway across the world? Not all the time. But I think that the lithium and other critical resources, palladium and platinum and zinc and zirconium and tin and iron ore and all that,
Yeah.
these will behave, commodities in general will behave a little bit differently to other resources such as manufacturing, which we're seeing being done in China now, or food, or or what we're learning about supply chains, or not us, but the world in general is learning about supply chains. Would you agree with that notion that some of these commodities will have different rules, that they will that the supply chains for these commodities will be different to other resources like food and fuel and other things that are more critical to an economy in the short run?
Yeah, I think that, in my opinion, I guess that lithium has a different kind of solution for the countries. And I think at the same time that lithium can be the best solution for increase our economy. And I think, for example, if Bolivia, Argentina, or Chile grows, those countries can help the other Latin countries. At the same time, Mexico can be the best example that we have for lithium, for example. And with Mexico, Argentina, Brazil, we can increase the other Latin countries.
Yeah.
But as I said at the beginning of our talk, that the war is going to be collaborative. But if we don't become collaborative war, the situation is going to be worse. And that's why money it doesn't matter. Politicians, it doesn't matter. Power, it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters right now is humanism. And with humanism, if you join with technology, we have the future that we want together, and the future we all deserve. And we deserve a better future for all of us. And I think collaborative work, join technology with humanism, that can be our solution for the situation that we are facing. Because, like you said, this kind of situation that the world is facing right now is not going to be the only way. It's not going to be the first time. I think that we are going to face in the coming years similar situations, because biotechnology is going to increase, and if you join 5 people who have the knowledge of computational knowledge, biotechnology knowledge, and big data knowledge, they can create weapons, bio weapons, and I think this is a huge problem that we are faced in the coming years if we don't join together and find the solutions together. And that's why it's not a good answer to shut down the borders. It's not a solution to wait in our houses, because the solution is not going to be in our houses for 1 or 2 months. The solution is going to be with the vaccine, and that's going to be the result of all of this. And I don't know what is going to happen in the next 2 months from now on, but I'm sure about something. We are going to beat this issue that we are having right now, but we are going to face similar situations in the coming years. And if we don't change our mindset, and if we maintain the same mentality and the same vision for the future, and like we are saying, it's not the future, it's the present, well, we are going to have quite different situations, and those situations are going to be worse than the situation that we are facing right now. So
well,
that's why
this is a really good point, because we talk about existential risk to humanity, And it's not fun. That's not funny. It's not here. We're not here joking about existential risks, either whether that be climate or AI or a nuclear war or superbugs or the end of antibiotics or any an asteroid or a Carrington-like event with a solar storm.
Yeah.
None of this is fun to talk about. I'm not sitting here having a great time talking about financial collapse or something. It's not fun. But I agree. These problems are only going to compound now. And this is a great moment. And it's a horrible moment, but it's a great moment for people to say, wow, hang on, something went wrong here in the system. What do we do to prepare for the next crisis? It's kind of like, I've been using this analogy for a bit now, but it's kind of like when you live in a tropical region and there's a hurricane, and this is kind of like a smaller hurricane. It came in and it's knocked over some of your houses and it's blown your trees down, and you said, wow, I lost my food store and stuff, but you know what, we're still going to live here, but next time that comes, I'm going to upgrade my defenses, I'm going to get an early warning system, I'm going to do all the things necessary, so when the hurricane comes next time, we're going to be prepared and we're going to be stronger. And I think that the world has finally gone, wow, we weren't prepared for this. Our system was quite fragile, and we really need to prepare for the existential risk coming down the road. Because, again, once the COVID-19 crisis is past and behind us, if people start to forget about the fear that they did and the disruption, then shame on them. But we're here saying you don't forget about it, and you prepare for the next thing. And the next thing isn't always going to be a repeat. It's not always going to be virology. It's going to be something else, and it's going to be bigger. Like you're talking about with the bioweapons. We need chemical weapons convention, bioweapons conventions, but we need ethicists and engineers and people who are philosophers, and we need a whole host of people to navigate us through this future, because the future is more dense, it's more complicated than people think. And if people think that this is the only thing that's coming to hit them in the head, that's not that's not the case. That's not true. And we need to work together as a humanity and as a human experience in order to navigate the future. And that's kind of why it's half depressing. It's half depressing, and it's hard. It's hard, and it's not exactly the funnest thing. But we try, and we will push on, and we'll do better. Hey, I just wanted to ask you as well. Talking about lithium in this context. South America has like Argentina. I think Argentina will be quite a powerhouse in South America in the coming years. Argentina always floats in and out of that category, but I'm bullish on Argentina in the future. Do you think with lithium-ion batteries, do you think we could they'll set up factories in South America to match the production of things like lithium-ion batteries? Or do you think that that's still too high-skilled a labor? It needs to be done in Taiwan or something like that. What do you think about high manufacturing and high processing in South America? Do you think it's possible?
That's why I was saying that we require to talk about cooperation between countries and cooperation to create joint ventures, because in Latin America we are facing the problems of less taxes and corruption, and right now we have to see, and we have to figure it out the way to don't be afraid. If I am a foreigner and I want to invest in a Latin country, but I know that in Latin countries there are too much corruption, bureaucracy, and sometimes the law is not fair. Well, first of all, we have to talk with our politicians and talk about a fair trade. And after that, we have to set it down with them and a schedule, and see how we can create this joint venture together. Because the situation is in the world we are seeing right now, that we don't have first world and the third world. We are seeing right now that we have economical classes, right? And you know the situation in Italy, for example. Some people usually saw as Italy as the first world, for example, and you know that they are facing too much issues regarding public service and regarding health, and Italy right now is a mess.
Yes.
And we are seeing that in Italy there are too many billionaires or too many people that are rich, but nothing happens in that sense that money can help you to beat this situation that we are facing right now.
Yeah, and that's what I said.
Yeah, sorry, and I said that the solution for this is not the money, is not in politicians, is in our intelligence, and we have to use our intelligence during this situation in our houses. We have to think how we can boost our present, how we can use the tools that technology can offer to us, how we can cross our continent to, for example, if you are in Australia and you want to cross your continent and you want to see the whole possibilities that you have in Latin America, well, you have to use this moment, the perfect moment that you don't have to go out to your house and work and thinking in other things. And usually this perfect moment that we are having right now to see how we can boost our business with different parts of the world, and how we can create a cooperation between different countries or different people around the world to create new kind of business, because business are going to transform the same as we are going to transform in something different in 20 years. We are not talking about humans anymore. We are talking about technological classes, you know, and this is in 20 years. Right now we don't have this situation, and we know that around this situation, too many people are going to lose their jobs. Too many people are going to shut down their business because they don't have money. But they have something really important that they maybe don't see right now. And you know what it is? It's intelligence. Intelligence is our key for finding the solution and transform our world in a better world, and a world of cooperation, because cooperation and intelligence are the key for this situation.
I agree there, Dr. Meniw. I got a few different comments to make on that, but I think it's funny, because we talk about exponential curves all the time on the show, and then suddenly the world has got a crash course in exponential curves. Suddenly they all go, "Whoa, this virus, it's going on it's not even an exponential. It's not even an exponential, but to them it feels like exponential. It keeps doubling, and that's not what exponential is. Exponential is straight up, and when we talk about technology, it's exponential, and that's kind of how, if you go back on a long enough scale, technology actually is on an exponential curve. On the scale of from fire to fire to the aqueduct to the steam train to the silicon chip to the internet. It is on an exponential curve on a long enough time scale, and it's just utterly amazing. The whole world is getting a crash course now in quick curves or exponential curves, and this is more dangerous in some ways, this exponential curve, but not because it could be harmful, but because people are ignorant of it, because they're ignorant of how quickly things can evolve and things can change. It was until it was suddenly. There was an old poem I remember. It was until it was suddenly, and then that's exponential curves, and people are getting a crash course in exponential curves. And we're talking about technology, and that's why it's important that people watch this show, share this show, listen to people like you and Chairman Gennady and the United States Transhumanist-Party and stuff, because if they think that this is scary, well, if they don't put in the hard work now, then that is going to be a bad curve, and that's going to be far more scary than this virus is, even though this virus is terrible. So we get it right, and it can be beautiful, and that's what we really want to achieve. We want to achieve the beautiful part. Now, on cooperation, on these joint partnerships you're talking about, I totally agree this is necessary, and it's because I think we have to maybe expand on this just a little bit, because maybe people don't quite understand why you're talking like this. But, Silicon Valley or these places in the United States especially are big engines of creation. They're big engines of the patent industry. And when you get, and the problem is like with countries like Argentina or Chile or Peru or, or Brazil or something like that, they might not have these big productive engines that scoop up these patents, right? And which means that they get locked out of innovation, even though the innovation might exist. Do you want to expand on why joint cooperations are quite important when it comes to things like the patent industry?
Yeah, and you said those countries that you mentioned are the countries that they don't cooperate, they don't work on the future, and the investment in science and technology and infrastructure is too low. If you compare, for example, with Israel, or if you compare with the United States, or if you compare with China, it's too low. And I think that the solution that the continent must have is try to find foreigners or international companies who wants to cooperate with them.
Yeah.
And the reason that we don't have a Silicon Valley in Latin America is because people don't think in the future.
Yeah.
And the problem is not the future, it's the present. And if you don't invest in the present, because you say, no, we have the problem with poverty, we have the problem of inflation, for example, in Argentina, or corruption. Well, those problems, we had those problems 20 years ago. And right now, we are going to face a different war. We are going to face biotechnology problems. We are going to face superhumans. We are going to face super artificial intelligence in 20 years, more or less. We are going to face people who are genetically modified since they are babies. And those problems in Latin countries don't think about. And when you talk about transhumanism in Latin America, not too many people know what it exactly is transhumanism in Latin America. And that is a huge problem. And that's why if I am a foreigner and I'm talking, and I'm listening someone from Latin America who talk about these kind of things, well, my mind is blowing, because probably I would say, this is the perfect time to travel to Latin America and see what kind of things I can do there, because the technology is not the same as in my country. They are not talking about nanotechnology, quantum computing, space opportunities, and well, they have lithium, and they have people who want to achieve these kind of goals, like me, for example. Well, you have the best opportunity right now because governments and people, they want solutions, not solution for the 20 or 40 years from now on. They want solutions for today.
This is a great point, and I had Larissa on. She's the CEO for one of these global Phoenix big mega corporations, and she actually worked for a prince or a king in one of these Middle Eastern countries, a big oil company. And she was talking about the investments they're making in technology parks all over the world. And we had a big conversation actually about technology parks in Israel, Sheldon Adelson, for example, somebody like that. But I think that this would be a great investment for South America for multiple reasons. One, it would catch up. One, it's a catch-up plan. But two, if you start to catch up and you start to innovate, I mean, you have beautiful, smart, talented people down there, and you have unique problems. So you can start to jump ahead. And, when you have these technology parks are usually geared towards industrial and urban type thinking. They don't usually, when you go to these technology parks, they don't really think about military planning. It's not usually that environment. There's usually, it's a technology park that's usually involved in planning. And, if you get that and you can accelerate the integration of those technology parks with other technology parks around the world, a lot of these ideas that you have about poverty, for example, or corruption, these technology parts would start to generate solutions to get you guys out of that. For example, one of those solutions would be blockchain. And all these people would say, hey, we actually have an idea. It's called blockchain. It would eliminate a lot of corruption going on. And, the people would start to say, oh, there's this digital thing, not too sure, but it's called blockchain. Maybe if we implement it, maybe we will have less corruption. Or, there's these cool, innovative solutions to favelas in Brazil, or maybe they could win some money from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for doing certain types of disease eradication or polio vaccination or the toilet, fast flushing toilets and things like this. These technology parks are stimulants to eliminating a lot of these different problems because that's a byproduct of accelerating towards the future of the big problems that we're talking about, because the big problems we're talking about are being generated and will continually be generated at a faster and faster productive rate in, say, Silicon Valley or in Shenzhen, somewhere in China, or in some of these other technology parks around the world, including the big medical ones that are opening up there in the Middle East for medical tourism and stuff. So I think these are absolutely necessary and they should be interconnected. And, it's wonderful to think that it's not even about the parks anymore so much as it is about the idea of these things, because you were talking about a whole change in the landscape of how we work from home, a broader, deeper integration with the internet in South America would be a great thing. Deeper interconnectivity between the different countries and different people in their urban regions, etc. So the spillover benefits of these types of investments are huge, because as a byproduct of not even thinking about these problems, they start to sort out a lot of the other problems of sanitation, of poverty, of corruption, of wealth inequality, because these are just minutiae problems forwarding to the bigger problems at hand. What do you say to that?
Yeah, and that's why I truly believe that the solution is cooperation and see what kind of things that we can work together in terms of, for example, you have the money and you want to invest in lithium or want to invest, I don't know, to create a Silicon Valley in Argentina, for example. Well, we can talk and we can see how we can increase our technology, our innovation. And right now, I think the best key, as I said before, is our intelligence. That's why I think that the best solution that we are having right now is time. We have too much free time right now to think, not to watch Netflix or eat too much. We have the too much time that we usually had before. Too much time to think, or too much time to resign the war, or to think how is going to be the future of trade, or what kind of possibilities I have through this situation that I can boost, or what I can explore, because it depends on the people, this kind of situation, because not too many people are going to think about the future right now. Too many people are going to be afraid about the future. They are going to say, no, I don't know, I don't want to die. I don't want to die because I'm too young. I'm healthy. And I'm watching on the news that the epidemic is going globally, and maybe I die. And if you have those kind of thoughts in your mind right now, the situation is going to be messy in your life. Not in your country, in your life. Because this war that we are facing right now is personally, is not globally. Because not too many people are going to face this situation as we are talking about. Some people are going to use this time to watch TV, to talk about the bad future that we are going to have, and they are going to be afraid about the possibilities of work, because they are going to say, no, I'm going to lose my work, and I don't know how I'm going to pay the bills, and I'm desperate about the future, and that is not the answer of this. The answer is take a breath, sit on your chair, and start thinking about how I can boost my work, how can increase my intelligence, because it's a perfect moment to use this challenge that we are facing right now to use our intelligence. And the intelligence is our key for the future. In, for example, if you are someone like you are afraid about the future, and you say, no, the future is not good, the future is only for rich people, blah 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 blah, well, this is the perfect moment to start thinking, what kind of solutions I have to my family to increase the economy of my family, how can of solutions I have for the future of my company or the future of my job. And you are going to see that the intelligence is the reason that you are going to see new rich people in the coming months, because they are usually this kind of situation to start thinking, but they don't usually have time, and now they have plenty of time. And now in the coming months they are going to start thinking about the problems. They are going to see we are going to have more obesity people, we are going to have more people that are afraid to be in contact with other people, and they are thinking, and through that thinking they are going to find the solution for their trade, they are going to find the key for their companies, and some companies are going to emerge for this kind of situation that we are facing, and some others are going to shut down because they don't have creativity, they don't use innovation, and they say, no, technology is too expensive for my company, I don't have the money to invest. And even worse, at this moment I don't have money to invest. And that is not the answer. The answer is how we can use this free moment that we are having right now to use our mentality and boost our neurons, and spread our intelligence and create new connectivity in our brain. That's why I'm very excited regarding this situation, because I think that it's a perfect moment to create collaboration, to forget about the ego that we have, because the ego is our best enemy. Is our best enemy because ego destroy the communication between people, ego destroy the mentality, ego destroy the intelligence, because separate us. But when you forget your ego, and when you forget about the fear, you have your face in front of the mirror, and you have to think. And that's why I think this is the best moment that we are having right now.
Yeah, and I have to agree with you totally. You know, we talk about, I call it the post-Earthrise trauma. You remember when they first took a photo of the Earth, and then everyone freaked out because they all realized we were on this this suspended blue glob in the middle of space the pale blue dot. Yeah, and now I think we're all collectively learning that right now with this epidemic, because yeah, we have all this technology. We have planes flying around and boats and doing this and stuff, and everything's accelerating. And suddenly this little invisible thing could stop it all. And I think everyone realized, wow. And the hubris went away. And, you mentioned before about, mortality and scared of the future. And I think, the stock market was going up and up and up and up because people were feeling more and more confident, more and more hubris. And then they realized, no, we're mortal. It's crashing because they were misdirecting, misallocating capital because they were too confident in themselves, when really they should have been investing in research and development and programs for the future and navigating future problems, instead of sorting out luxury goods for the present. And I think they realized that, and they're learning that, and I think we're going to come out of this much stronger. And I like your idea about the ego as well. I think that's a beautiful point. So yeah. So I want to thank you for coming on, because this has been a really great conversation. But yes, education in transhumanism in South America needs to go up a long way. People need to understand that transhumanism is a beautiful thing. It can be a beautiful thing if done correctly, but if ignored, the technology will run away. and then people will be faced with problems that they didn't see coming. Nobody saw that coming, but of course it's entirely predictable. It's just about what you do with your time. And like you said, you can use this time to watch TV, or you can use this time to put your head in the sand or whatever, or you can actually get out there, get active, and actually benefit from this by being innovative. And and I think that's the better solution. A lot of people will only be distressed because they'll say, oh, the problems are too large. But these are the best times when everything is exposed, when you can clearly see how all the systems work and everything functions, and you can actually find innovative solutions. My friend, he was saying to me, how could I ever do anything? And I said, if you want to make a buck right now and help the community, why don't you just start a delivery service right now? Go and compete with Uber. Go and compete with things. Get your little bike out there and just start running food back and forth on local delivery times from the local shop to the thing. And he goes, oh, no, that's too hard. That's too this and that. That is so easy. That's the easiest job you could ever do in this sort of time. And, that's a silly example, but that you can leverage that up all the way through the technological scale, all the way up to some brilliant ideas. I mean, we could, you could reinvent the internet so that you'd have some sort of mitigation technique or tool, that would be activated in times of crisis or something. If you're a big company, or if you're Google or something like that, you could think right up to those sorts of levels. If you're Elon Musk, you could do something else. But there are so many opportunities at this point in time that because the whole system is laid bare for everyone to see, and these are the beautiful times when people with those gems of a mind can really change history. They can change humanity for the better. And I'm attempting to do that here by this show. It's going how it's going. It's going okay, but my main goal right now is to keep the community glued, to keep us talking, to keep us connected. I think this is really important because I think the information as a currency is rising and rising and rising, because in times of uncertainty, it's better to be connected with smart people to see how they're dealing and coping with different things. And that's my idea. Is that a good idea or a bad idea? I don't know. It's up to other people to see what they think of that. But that's what that is. But that's not the only idea. There's the ideas that you're talking about of transhumanism, new technologies, and the future of trade, the future of cooperation, the future of humanity, the future of investment, the future of a more stable supply chain, that can benefit human health. These are the better ideas, and these are the ideas that will go on to echo down the generations. These are really the ideas that will echo down the generations, because if we get this right, now, we can protect ourselves in the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from the situations and crises that are coming at us, and we can navigate around them before they even get here. And that's what we really want to see, Dr. Meniw. It's so good to talk to you as well. Let's quickly update us. So the Innovation Center, have you got any news for us on the Innovation Center?
Well, we don't know when we are going to open the Innovation Center in Bolivia. Despite of this situation, we don't have a clue when it's going to be the opening, because people don't want to attend to any event. And right now, the situation, as you know, around the world is the same situation. So we don't know exactly when it's going to be. But I think one thing for certain, that is that we are going to do this, that we are going to be an example in Latin America. And I'm sure that all my study about the future and all my vision about the future is going to be achieved in Bolivia. And after that, I think that we can spread around Latin America, because transhumanism, for example, must be conveyed to the young people. they must to learn about how transhumanists are going to change their lives for better. And even if you don't agree with transhumanism, you have to talk why you don't agree with this, because the future is about how technology is going to improve us. And if you want to improve yourself, well, you want to die, well, it's your choice. But first we have to talk, we have to discuss. If you want to incorporate technology in your body, for example. And people don't know in Latin America in general, they don't know about how technology can improve their lives. And that's why this is a perfect moment to be an example in Latin America. I hope to know what is in America, because I was talking with Sultan once, and I said, we need you here in Latin America. And he said, no, Latin America have you. So you have to be the transhumanist representative there. And I said, well, I am alone here. I need a team. And I need someone to spread this vision, because people really require this kind of vision for the future. Because if you don't know, you are missing something really important for your life. Because, for example, if you really believe in religion, for example, and you cross with someone who can tells you that your life can improve and your body can change, what kind of thing that person are going to tell me? They are going to say, no, no, I believe in religion, I don't want to prove. Well, it's your choice. I respect that. But we need to discuss. We need to talk why it's important for our people to talk about this situation. Because if we don't talk about this, we are going to see, for example, the case of Japan. That Japan is going to be the first cyber nation in 20 years. And if you travel to Japan in 20 years, you are going to see cyborgs around you. You know?
Yeah, this was going to be my point.
And
This was going to be my point as well. Is I was going to leave off with this. Is that okay? Let's hypothetically, let's say America. Let's just draw a big box around South America and say that's a non-transhumanist space on the planet. No transhumanism is allowed in there. That doesn't mean that people aren't going to be do transhumanist things outside of South America. The people will keep innovating. For example, you use the example of Japan or the United States or other countries, China or something else. The people will keep innovating. So as soon as we unboxed that, as soon as we lift the glass box off of South America, the South Americans will go out into the world and they will be confused. Why? What? Huh?
Right.
What? Huh? And that's not the sort of
Yeah.
that's not the sort of healthy lifestyle that you want, because they're not going to know how to interface with the rest of the community or the rest of the planet. And so, at the bare minimum, which is what you're saying, need to be educated on future trends and how to interface with those future trends. But better yet, even better, not only be educated, not even know how to interface, but actually be a participant in the innovation, be a participant in helping to direct a positive future. And I think that's where we really want to see South America going in the next few years. And I think this is the perfect moment for people to wake up, especially on the health front. I think people are really going to start thinking about their health now, and transhumanism is all about health, lots and lots of stuff about health. I mean, we're talking about radical life extension, not just preventative policy. I mean, not just reactive policies, but preventative policies, from cancers, and putting machines down your throat so they can scan your arteries for, and fixing your brain and a whole bunch of stuff. So let's hope that South America is listening and that they can actually help us as a world and be a participant in the innovation ahead. I think that'd be really, really exciting. If you got anything else to say, sir, if I missed anything, it's been super fun having you on the show.
Well, to end this marvelous conversation, I would say that it's a perfect time. It's a perfect time. I don't have any doubt about it. And as I said before, our best enemy and our best friend is our ego and is our lack of knowledge. Because if we use this time to forget about our egos and we use this time to increase our intelligence and see how we can cooperate with our neighbors, the situation is going to be completely different in the couple of months. But if our mental and see a future, a present, and a past, well, I don't know what is going to happen with. I usually say, and I remember when I was at the Congress of Argentina in front of more than 200 deputies and senators of the National Congress of Argentina, and I said, we must forget about our mental structure. We must forget our mentality, because the future is going to be the present, and the present is going to be our best challenge. No one believed me. No one believed me that, and I will send you the conference to
I
see.
believe you.
But you should you should understand Spanish to see that. But right now, I'm seeing that I was visionary to talk about that. 4 months ago, I said that, and I keep telling these kind of things, and I'm sure that if we use this free time that we have right now, the future is going to be much better than Peter Damandi says.
I believe you, sir, and we have lots of visionaries on here, and you're one of a cadre of beautiful people who are trying to help us navigate this world and to make it better for everybody. And I really want to thank you for coming on the show. We'll keep in contact, and I want to get more on the lithium idea. I've been exploring a lot of lithium options here in Australia too. We have a big lithium production here as well. I've been looking at that as well because it's a bit closer to home. But it's not only lithium. There's a whole bunch of critical resources that are out there, and people should really have a look at that. That's very interesting stuff that are critical to these frontier technologies that we're talking about. So absolutely, and transhumanism, great idea. And education in South America, rise of technology parks. We should push for that. And keep safe, sir. Keep isolated if you're doing. Well, do whatever you're doing. I'm not sure what you're doing, but stay safe out there until we get a vaccine or a.
Yeah, I will keep studying here. So I don't know when and where the situation is going to be different, but I'm sure that I'm going to keep studying to improve my future and improve the future of the people who are around me.
Yeah, I totally agree. All right, well, the whole world is a bit frozen right now, so yeah. All right, I want to thank Brent Ellman, Dan Elton, David Shoemaker, Frank Martino, Future Humanity Project, who says the future is in your hands, Chairman Gennady Stolarov, John Carrots, Mike DiVerde, and the Technocracy, who are all putting in small payments to try and keep this show alive during this time of trouble. And thank you very much, everybody. Your donations are well used. That I lost since I lost my job, so they're really being well used and keeping the show alive. So thank you all. And Thrivous, of course, thank you. Get some geoprotectors. You too, Dr. Meniw. If you throw this link around, say thanks, Thrivous, you can get some free Thrivous. Thrivous is an open source geoprotector in nootropics. Get some. They'll ship it to you. It's good stuff. And it'll help you studying while you're studying. So why not do that? Yeah. All right. Well, and to the superstar of the show, thank you, Dr. Meniw, for coming on and helping us talk about all these different things.
Thank you.
About South America and the future and the positive benefits that can come out of this time of great reflection is what I'm calling it, but probably great struggle. But let's just call it great reflection for now. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, and God bless you all.
All right, thank you very much. It's Detonation, where we are busy putting death out of business.